Hey everyone, this is my run on Divine Shiva Lufenia Plus, featuring a green Cloud of Darkness, Ace with his base BT, although having said that, you don't really need Ace BT for this run because I didn't actually use his burst mode throughout the run, and finally with Warrior of Light. Now this fight is, in my opinion, probably the most difficult Lufenia Plus stage to date, and I actually think it's even more difficult than the infamous Illusory Lighthouse with the Ghost Lufenia Plus. This fight can really be tricky, and it really depends on who do you actually have available for the fight. The MVP in this fight I think is actually Warrior of Light, mainly because his shields can protect your entire party from Brave and HP damage, which will come in handy when you're frozen in place. Beyond Warrior of Light, Ace I think is probably the next best character to bring if you have him, even without his burst weapon, and that's because his traps will still trigger and go off every turn even if you're frozen in place, and this helps to keep the Shiva's Brave in check. And of course, beyond that, you have the heavy hitters, especially Jecht with his LD or BT weapon. Cloud of Darkness or Twins make up the heavy damage dealers that you can bring. Do take note that Shiva absorbs Ice Elemental naturally, so you want to avoid things like Kurosame LD Call because he enchants the party with Ice. And beyond that, during the fight, there are moments of time when Shiva will also absorb all elements except fire, so you do want to take note of that if you're bringing elemental attackers into play. For that reason also, fire elemental enchant such as with Lulu or Ignis Call or even the main party Ignis would do fairly well in this fight. Anyway, coming back to the fight, it has two phases, and on the first phase you start off with a single Shiva boss, and the Shiva boss on the first phase only has 4 million HP, and you need to deplete 3 million of its life plus 1 million of an HP shield in order to trigger the start of phase 2. On phase 1 you actually have a lot of leeway. Shiva will take 3 turns to get a full recast bar, so in essence you want to try to end phase 1 before Shiva takes her 4th turn. Once you bring Shiva to 29%, which is after you deal 4 million HP damage total, you will trigger the start of phase 2. In phase 2, both Shivas will start off with the Lufenia orb with orb count of 10, and you normally will need to do fire elemental damage to do a +1 on the orb. However, I don't really have Ignis LD and I don't really want to bring Lulu or Lulu Call, so this run is also a no fire elemental damage, I guess beyond the Twins friend support dealing all elements. And it's actually possible, very possible, because the orb trigger here for the first time is not actually lethal. It does a Brave and HP attack into everyone, and it will also grant the boss a hidden aura that will reduce Brave damage taken and will reduce your party's attack stat, which sort of makes Shiva a little bit more tankier, but otherwise very manageable. Now this fight is extremely challenging, mainly due to Shiva's signature attack, which is Divine Diamond Dust. Shiva will use this attack every time she gets a full recast bar, and will also use this attack whenever she hits 79%, 49% and 29% on phase 2. You really want to keep a very close eye on the HP percentage and manage it accordingly, because when she does her Divine Diamond Dust, it will force break your entire party, and nothing can prevent the force break even if you're immune to breaks. And beyond that, she will also deal the usual Brave and HP attack damage, but she also will inflict Ice Bind effect, which essentially freezes all 3 party members in place until Shiva gets another turn, and that's the element that makes the fight extremely difficult. Now at the start of phase 2, from 100% to the first Diamond Dust at 79%, I actually recommend to hold on to your call abilities, especially if you have debuff inducing calls such as Ferris or Jecht LD call for example, or maybe even Cypher or Tidus call. And that's because at the start of phase 2 the Shivas are actually quite squishy and you don't need much to be able to cap out on your Brave damage. You want to hold off on your calls until they hit 79%, because at 79% they will do Divine Diamond Dust, and it is also likely that at that point or somewhere close to that their orb will expire, and when the orb expire it also takes down all the buffs by 2 turns, which is really a waste of the limited resource which is call abilities. For the same reason also, I decided not to go into any burst plus or burst mode yet, because when they hit 79% and do their automatic diamond dust, everyone will be frozen in place, and when you're frozen in place your burst aura and buffs will still tick down in duration, which is really a waste of burst auras in my opinion. So the strategy that I took here is to wait until 79%, which is right here, and at this point I'm just waiting for the Shivas to let loose all their attacks. As you can see, when you get hit by Divine Diamond Dust you get frozen in place, and this effect sticks until Shiva takes another turn. You won't be in much danger because Shiva fortunately doesn't hit for very hard, and Warrior of Light's Brave shields will be more than enough to protect your entire party. But it is quite annoying because this will allow Shiva to take multiple turns, and right here as you can see it actually leads to Shiva getting another full recast bar, which means that another Diamond Dust is actually incoming. Now that all my characters are unfrozen again, so this is where I start using some call abilities. And if you have Ferris call, I recommend to use the LD call before the base call. You can keep the base call for the later parts in the fight because it will also help you dispel the buffs that Shiva grants herself. Now that I've passed the first Diamond Dust trigger at 79%, I decide to also pop Cloud of Darkness BT Plus to trigger her full up attack. On hindsight though, it may be better to hold off on the BT plus attack until after Shiva uses her Diamond Dust here, because I did waste a couple of turns being frozen while the BT effect is in play, but it's not too big a deal breaker. It's really only a 1 or 2 turns off, so I think it's still quite manageable. Now I decided to swap Ace out here for Twins because I wanted to preserve Ace's last LD trap for the last part of the fight, and also because the Lufenia orb is about to reappear. Now in case you're not aware, once the Lufenia orb explodes, it will reappear again after 10 turns or actions have passed, and this can be either boss or player turns. When the Lufenia orb is out, or when the Lufenia orb is gone, I should say, you can see ice crystals floating in the field, and these ice crystals significantly cuts the damage that your party can do to Shiva. It reduces your party's attack by 60% and increases Shiva's Brave resistance by another 20% on top of all the Lufenia Brave reductions in play. So I decided to just bring Twins in here because I'm about to hit the 49% trigger, and I decide to actually pop my summon here so that I can bring the boss way past 49% inside summon. Now if you pack enough DPS, especially if you stack BT plus auras such as Twins, Cloud of Darkness, Ace or Jecht BT plus auras, one very viable strategy is to pop summon when you're close to 50%, and inside summon try to bring both Shivas down all the way to 29%. If you can manage that amount of DPS, you effectively bypass the Diamond Dust at 49%. And that's because inside summon or burst mode, Shiva will actually not do her Diamond Dust triggers at 49 or 29%, but she will immediately do it once you exit summon or burst mode. So if you bring Shiva past 49% and all the way to 29% inside summon mode, you will bypass 2 triggers, which will lead to Shiva doing both triggers back to back. You will eat 2 Diamond Dust after the summon mode, but in effect you really only get frozen in place for 1 Shiva turn, which is a big benefit. Unfortunately, I really didn't have enough DPS. I'm nowhere even close to the 29%, so I thought it was much of a run ender, but I decided to just continue on because I do have Ace sitting in reserve with 1 more LD in play. So after summon, because I've passed the 49% threshold, Shiva did her automatic Diamond Dust again, and there is still 1 more Diamond Dust trigger at 29%. Thankfully, with Twins support, I managed to hit 29% without too much difficulty. Twins really did their job here of dealing insane amounts of AoE damage. Now I decide to pop my burst mode here with Cloud of Darkness because I really want to make the most out of her burst aura follow-up attacks, and the burst mode will actually allow me to deplete most of Shiva's remaining HP anyway. So the goal here is to bring Shiva low enough so that Cloud of Darkness follow-up attacks plus Aces traps will be enough to finish them off at the last part of the fight. At 19%, Shiva will automatically trigger the Lufenia orb attack regardless of what count the Lufenia orb is at. So even if the orb is at 10 count, it will still explode once you pass 19% HP. It's not that big a deal if you have Warrior of Light. It's just the same effect as the regular explosion, which will trigger the Snow In attack. It does make Shiva somewhat tanky because at this part of the fight, all the Lufenia stat reductions or stat increases are in play. And on top of that, you have the Ice Crystals effect, which further reduces your party's attack and increases Shiva's Brave resistances a little bit more. So you can see my Warrior of Light doing 1 Brave damage here per hit, which is not unexpected. At this point, you really want to stack as many BT auras or defense down debuffs if you still have them. They do make a big difference to make the last parts of the fight a bit more manageable. Now right here, Shiva B does have a full recast bar, and don't do what I did. Ideally, I was thinking of killing them off at the same time, and that's why here I held off on killing Shiva B. I could have potentially finished him off with Warrior of Light, but I didn't want to kill it off because I was too afraid of the enrage mechanic, and I think that is really a big mistake. Because here Shiva B does her recast attack, and not only it ice binds everyone, it also gives Shiva another 1 million HP shield, which is really not a very efficient approach. Alright, that's it for this run. As always, if you enjoyed the video, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Lufenia fight. Bye!